Hello students, today we are going to discuss the first module of Design and Engineering paper. This module includes design process. Under design process, you will have to study Introduction to Design and Engineering Design, defining a design process, detailing customer requirement, setting design objectives, identifying constraints, establishing functions, generating design alternatives, and choosing a design. Before going through the design process, first let's discuss about engineers and then engineering design. Engineering is the profession in which a knowledge of the mathematical and natural sciences gained by study, experience, and practice is applied with judgment to develop ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. Engineers apply science and technology to develop solutions to practical problems or problems that need to be solved for the benefit of humanity. Engineers must be able to identify and define the problem to be solved, develop alternative design solution, and implement the solution finally selected. So these are the problem solving skills of an engineer. Also, engineers must be able to convey ideas effectively in both written and oral form. Engineers must be able to recognize and resolve ethical dilemmas and behave in a professional manner at all times and under all circumstances. If engineers are to be successful in solving challenging technical problems, they must be both imaginative and optimistic that their efforts will bear fruit. Engineers must be adept in mathematical techniques and knowledgeable about science. Engineers must acquire the appropriate set of technical skills if they are to perform well in their chosen profession. Given that both technology and scientific knowledge are expanding at an incredibly rapid rate, engineers must be willing and able to acquire new skills and knowledge in their areas of expertise. Engineers must be familiar with such strategies and practices if they are to succeed in industry. Engineers must be familiar with the latest computer technology if they are to use it in an effective ways in various engineering applications. Also, it is critical to understand cultural differences if one is to work in harmony with others from around the world as today's engineers often do. So, in short, engineering is a service profession. Virtually all engineered products and processes are responses to people's needs. A significant amount of engineering thought and effort can be devoted toward improving even such relatively common products as wheelchairs. Each of us in this profession seeks to serve or assist others by providing them with a safer, happier, and more productive lifestyle. Now comes the engineering design. First, let's go through the definition. Engineering design is a systematic, intelligent process in which engineers generate, evaluate, and specify solutions for devices, systems, or processes whose form and function achieve clients' objectives and users' needs while satisfying a specified set of constraints. In other words, engineering design is a thoughtful process for generating, plans or schemes for devices, systems or processes that attain given objectives while adhering to specified constraints. It is important to recognize that when we are designing devices, systems and processes, we are designing artifacts or artificial man-made objects, the things or devices that are being designed. They are most often physical objects such as airplanes, wheelchairs, ladders, cell phones, etc. But paper products or their electronic versions such as drawings, plans, computer software, articles and books are also artifacts in this sense. Today, we are also going to discuss some important topics which comes under design engineering. Now let's discuss about the design objective. A feature or behavior that we wish the design to have or exhibit is the design objective. And then comes the design constraints. A limit or restriction on the features or behaviors of the design is known as a design constraint. If a proposed design is unacceptable, then it means that these design constraints or these limits are violated. We will discuss both these terms in detail later. Now comes the functions. Things a design device or system is supposed to do comes under function. Engineering functions almost always involve transferring or transforming energy, information or material. We view energy transformation or transfer quite broadly. It includes supporting and transmitting forces, the flow of current, the flow of charge, the transfer of material and so on. Then comes means, a way or a method to make a function happen. For example, friction is a means of fulfilling a function of applying a braking force. Then last, form. The shape and structure of something as distinguished from its material is known as form. So these are the important terms which comes under design engineering. Okay. Now let's have a look at the different phases or stages in engineering design process. Mathematicians, physicists, chemists and other scientists seek unique solutions to the problems that they investigate. In other words, each of these problems has a one-of-a-kind solution. In contrast, engineers focus on problems for which there are many practical solutions. They seek the best solution from among these many alternatives. Of course, in order to determine the best solution from among a set of alternatives, engineers must first be able to recognize and develop each of these alternatives, a very formidable task. To perform this task in an effective and efficient manner, engineers often follow a procedure known as the engineering design process. As you can see in the figure shows the process of engineering design, which is divided into 5 principal tasks or phases. The first one, as you can see in the figure, the first one is the needs assessment. The first engineering design task or phase is the needs assessment. Here, the need for a solution is first established. In the design engineering process, first the need for a solution is first established, and then problem formulation, and then second comes the problem formulation. The real problem to be solved is defined in the form of design goals that are to be achieved by any viable solution. And then third, abstraction and synthesis. Develop abstract or general concepts or approaches through which the problem could be solved and then generate detailed alternative solutions or designs for the problem. And then comes the most important phase or the most important task in design process, that is the analysis. Here, compare and evaluate alternative designs. And the last stage or last phase is the implementation. Develop the final solution and distribute it to your intended clients or customers or users. So these are the 5 important stages or phases in engineering design process. That is needs assessment, problem formulation, abstraction and synthesis, analysis and implementation. Okay. So let me conclude. In today's video lecture, we have discussed the definition of engineering design, various terms which comes under engineering design such as design objectives, design constraints, functions, means, forms, and the various phases included in engineering design process. Hope you understood these topics. Thank you.